Good morning this morning, and welcome to a Ross Bjork really does hold more cards than you realize. And if he decides to play at the table, you're in trouble, Michigan edition of the OHIO podcast. Do us a big favor this morning or whenever you're watching this video and smash that like button. It really does help the channel. We really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. That'll help us out as well. And by all means, please make a comment down in the comment section below. I am sure this video is going to cause you to want to say something, whether you agree or disagree or want to try to mock me. Oh, we're going to have all kinds of fun with this one because I have laid out a 3-step plan for Ross Bjork and how he should respond to Warde Manuel and the team up north and their response to the NCAA and the violations of cheating. All right. By now, most of you know this. Warde Manuel went on Scam Web's program and basically said that the report that went out from a couple days ago from Scoop that the lawyers or the legal team from the University of Dum had reached out to the NCAA with their first basically admittance that they had cheated, and here's what they would suggest as far as negotiating a penalty. Warde Manuel responds with some selected a selected response where he basically says, "I know nothing of us, saying that we were going to have a postseason ban." He didn't answer all the allegations, which means there were negotiations. Now, did Scoop have it 100% right or not? Probably not. It was secondhand information. However, the fact that Warde did not come out and say that the lawyer team or the legal team never communicated with the NCAA, we're admitting nothing wrong. He didn't say that at all, did he? But yet you have all of the Michigan fan base celebrating like there ain't nothing gonna happen. So I I'm one of those people who when when you have someone come to you with a problem, don't just complain about the issue. Give me some ideas of some solutions for the perceived problem that you want to complain about. That's just how things work in business. And if you're going to run a successful business, that's what you have to do. You want problem solvers. You don't want problem complainers, right? Or problem causers. And so instead of me just sitting here and complaining about and making some video where you just toss things back and forth between our fan base and that one, I've decided I'm going to lay out a 3-step plan for Ohio State's athletic director Ross Bjork and how he should respond to the idiocy that is Warde Manuel. By the way, the same fans who are taking some kind of perceived victory lap in Warde Manuel's response to Scam Web are the same ones who were calling for him to be fired about 12 to 18 months ago. So pick a side, guys, maybe. Maybe you should do that. All right, here we go. So, 3-step plan. Number 1, I hope Ross Bjork gets to watch this because I think some of this is really going to be a I think some of this is going to just work out great for him. If you wanted to, you don't have to take my advice. But some of this I think would be really good for him. All right, number 1, here we go. He's got to contact the NCAA and basically tell the NCAA, those who are dealing with this investigation and possible punishment with the team up north, hey, listen, guys, we have some expectations on your part. And if you guys don't hand out a punishment that is equal to or worse than what you handed us back in 2011 for the 2010 perceived violations, then there's going to be some ramifications. There's going to be some fallout from this that you all are not going to like. So he needs to be in communication with those who are making this. That look, if you don't step to the plate like you did against us all those years ago, then it's not going to go well for you at all. he needs to start to apply some pressure. When you are the athletic director of the most powerful program in a conference, you need to start applying pressure. The NCAA responds to pressure. They respond quickly to pressure. They don't respond quickly to anything else, but they will respond when they feel threatened. And if they feel threatened by a program that is going to come at them and say, okay, if you're not going to step to the plate, then there's going to be some fallout from that. I think it could cause them to move in the right direction a little bit more quickly. So he needs to start to apply pressure to the NCAA. Now, when I get into step number 2 here, this is going to make more sense. But just sitting back and waiting and hoping that the NCAA does the right thing is not what a leader does. A leader needs to step to the plate and make sure that his voice or her voice is heard immediately. And although he can't get in the beginning of this or the forefront of this, that was Gene Smith's lack of ability to lead. He can now come in and swoop in from this point on and say, NCAA, I just want to make sure that you realize if you don't do the right thing, there's going to be some serious fallout here. That's number one. Begin to apply pressure where it's needed. It's not on Warde Manuel. It's not on the team up north. The pressure needs to be applied to the NCAA. That's number one. Now, here's where it starts to get interesting. Number two. Oh, and by the way, I think Ross can put a time frame on this too. If we don't hear uh, your response on what the punishment's going to be by such and such date, then by that date, you all are going to hear from us again. Here's where I think it could get really interesting. Number two, Ross Bjork lets them know that on such and such date, let's say it's by July 5th. I picked that date because it's my birthday. It'd be a great birthday gift. On July 5th, if we don't hear of a 1 year, if we don't hear that you're going to remove games from the 2021 and 2020 or 2022, 2023 seasons, 2021 season, whatever, if we don't hear that you're going to remove Big Ten championships, if you're going to give them a scholarship reduction, that there's going to be a postseason bowl ban, etc. If we don't hear whatever Ross wants, if we don't hear that from you, then you can expect to receive a phone call from our lawyer team, from our legal team on that date, in which you will be sued for how you punished us in 2010. We will want every game reinstated, all victories to be reinstated, the Big Ten championship to be reinstated. We would expect our bowl game against Arkansas to be reinstated. We would also expect a public apology to the university and to Jim Tressel from you, the NCAA. We would expect that in not only written form, but we would expect a press conference in which you will admit that you wrongfully punished the Ohio State University in 2011. We would expect that, and not only would we expect that, if we don't receive it, we are going to take you to court. You will reinstate this to us. You see the pressure that's being applied here is you are going to treat them like you treated us, or you are going to admit that you're wrong, that you were wrong then, and that you're a toothless organization now. Now, if they laugh back at Ross Bjork, there are more steps he can take. Believe me, I've thought about this for a while. Not only do you come out and you publicly say, hey, on such and such a date, I'm talking about Ross Bjork here. On such and such a date, I contacted the NCAA. I gave them the opportunity to right the wrongs on such and such a date. They didn't. And so as of right now, we are seeking legal counsel and we will be suing the NCAA. In that lawsuit, here are the things that we expect. This is what we want you all to know. In the meantime, we are hanging all those banners back up. We are reinstating the wins ourselves. We are putting the Big Ten championship banner back up. We are putting the bowl banner back up. We are reinstating all of those things here at the university because it is obvious that the NCAA is a toothless, spineless organization that cannot control its institutions, and therefore we are doing this as of today. Number two, since they do not want to or nor have the power to stop cheating, we are now instituting a advanced scouting that you've like never seen in college football history. So, not only now are we going to be sending scouts to every single game and doing advanced scouting since they don't want to follow their own rules, we're going to be creating our own advanced technological scouting. We're going to be hacking into, if you will, everybody's game film, everybody's practice film, and we're going to know exactly what our opponents want to do at the very next game. Since you all can't control your institutions, that's what this is all about. So you have to apply the right pressure here. You have to call out what Michigan has done, and you have to basically say, if you're not going to punish them, then it's open season. And if you publicly let that out of the bag, all of a sudden it's going to make everybody else, including all the other member institutions, everybody over there at ESCCPN, everybody at Fox, you're going to make them start talking. And it's going to shine a light on exactly what Michigan did once again. You're reviving the story all over again. You're putting pressure where pressure applies. And in doing so, you're going to get a lot of other people saying, you know what, Ross Bjork, you're right. You're absolutely 100% right. Now, some people are going to be saying, oh, you're whining. But it's not really whining. You're applying pressure. It's not that Ross wants to do these things. It's that you have to make other people do their job sometimes. That's number two. All right, number three, let's continue on. By now, I'm sure I've got most of you either fuming, laughing, or agreeing with me. So we'll see. Number three, and this is the one I think will really ruffle feathers because not only you're going to apply pressure to the NCAA, but now you're going to apply pressure to the conference. You publicly begin talks with Notre Dame to leave the Big Ten Conference and go with Notre Dame to the ACC. Hear me out. What makes the Big Ten so profitable? What allows the Big Ten to have the largest television contract in college football? Is it Purdue? Is it Illinois? Is it Northwestern? No, none of those schools move the dial. I'm sorry, they don't. Why is it that Fox put Ohio State on Big Noon Kickoff 5 freaking weeks in a row? It's because they move the dial. Ohio State does. By the way, Ohio State was half of the 10 largest viewed games in 2024 were Ohio State. You know how many Michigan had on that list? Zero. None. Nada. They weren't in the top 10 at all. Ohio State moves the needle. You want to know why Purdue, Indiana, and yeah, I'm picking on them today, Michigan State. You want to know why Illinois, Northwestern, Iowa, Minnesota. You want to know why they're collecting large checks from Fox, CBS, and NBC? It's because of Ohio State. Ohio State is the boss. They're the kingpin. Now, behind them, you have Michigan, Purdue, Northwestern, USC, and Oregon. Absolutely. I'm not going to say that those institutions aren't important. But what is the Big Ten without Ohio State? Let me explain. If Ohio State and Notre Dame were to go into negotiations with the ACC and say, hey guys, you guys don't disband, we're coming to save you. You add Ohio State, Notre Dame to the conference that has Miami, the conference that has Florida State, the conference that has Clemson, the conference that has North Carolina and Duke. You add Ohio State and Notre Dame to that conference, I promise you, I guarantee come the next television contract deals, the ACC becomes much more profitable and desirable to NBC, CBS, and Fox than the Big Ten does. And what would the Big Ten be if all of a sudden their television rights were cut in half? Where would the Big Ten be if that 88 million or whatever that number is all of a sudden is closer to 44 or 50? You're not making as much money. The Big Ten essentially becomes the Big 12 at that point. That's who you would be without Ohio State. And Ohio State joins Notre Dame. And then what would stop Penn State from saying, you know what, forget this, we're out of here? What would stop Nebraska saying, why would we stay in the Big Ten when we're a Big 12 team anyways? What would stop Oregon or USC and Washington and UCLA going, this sucks. We're going to go back to the Pac 12? What would stop any of that from happening? The question is none. You essentially destroy the conference if you leave. If Ohio State really wanted to, and of course they would need a partner in this, and that partner would be Notre Dame. If Ohio State went to Notre Dame and said, you know what, screw this, let's go to the SEC. You don't think the SEC would say welcome them in with open arms, and then the next contract would be well over 100 million per school? You don't think that the other television companies would want to start negotiating with the SEC alongside ESPN for that conference? You better believe they would. Ohio State holds more power here than what people want to admit. So Ross Bjork could essentially come to the Big Ten and say, if you and the NCAA don't work this out and punish them what's acceptable, we're out of here. We're leaving. Next television deal, we're gone. We're going to join Notre Dame, and we are going to destroy your conference. That absolutely could happen. Whoever thought that Texas and Oklahoma would leave the Big 12 for the SEC? Whoever thought that UCLA and USC would one day destroy the Pac-12 and head to the Big 10? No one ever thought those things 20 years ago. It was a pipe dream. What makes you think Ohio State would stick around in a conference that's unwilling to do the right thing here, to do the morally acceptable thing, to say, you know what, you're absolutely right, Ross, you're absolutely right, Ohio State. It was unfair what happened to you in 2010. If the NCAA doesn't step to the plate and do the right thing here, and or reinstate everything and admit that they were wrong, then Ross Bjork can basically publicly say, when this contract is done, we are joining Notre Dame and we are going to destroy the Big Ten. He could do those things. 100% that could happen if, and I know some of you, that'll never happen. Did you all think Texas and Oklahoma were going to be in the SEC one day? Did you all think that you would have watched a Penn State versus Oregon Big Ten championship game one day? Did you all think that would happen? Never say never. Ohio State holds all the cards in this situation if they wanted to. If they wanted to throw their weight around, if they wanted to flex, they absolutely could. Ross Bjork has that power, if he wants it, to go to the NCAA, to go to the Big Ten, and say, we expect and demand that the team up north receives the same or worse punishment than we received in 2010. And if not, you are going to publicly apologize for the 2010, 2011 sanctions. You're going to give us our wins back, and we're going to destroy your conference. Those are the expectations that Ross Bjork can and should apply. So I have been teasing this for a long time. I told you all I have some ideas. I wanted to throw those out there to you all. What do you all think about my ideas? Do you think there's something I'm missing here that Ross Bjork could do? I would love to know what you all think. Now, for the fans up north, by now you've already typed several things in the comment section below, because you can't help it yourselves. You can't listen to someone's reasoning without getting all defensive and everything. And by the way, the ultimate worst thing to say is living rent-free in someone's head. The very fact that you watch this video and are making a comment right now about living rent-free, that somehow you're all living rent-free in my head, means I'm living rent-free in your head based off of that definition. It's the dumbest thing you possibly could say. You make yourself look like a complete idiot, which you are, so congratulations if you want to put that. Now, the other thing I want to do is say to you all is this. Stop burying your head in the sand. Admit that you were wrong. You want Ohio State to admit that we were wrong in 2010? Fine. Absolutely. You know what? Jim Tressel shouldn't have withheld information from the NCAA. He shouldn't have lied, right? That's all you want. That's what you wanted to hear. Why won't you admit the same thing here? Is it a double standard? Is it that you're in a? Is it the fact that you can't admit that 2013 championship was absolutely tainted because of all of this? Is that what you're afraid to admit? I'd love to know why. John 17:17, today's verse of the day. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. At the end of the day, that's what I want, the truth. I want the truth in my life, and I want the truth in this situation. I want it to come to the light. I want all of that truth to be spoken, not ignored, not buried, not swept under the rug. I want the truth exposed. Ohio State had to face the music in 2010. University of Dumb, you need to face your music right now. And if not, Ross Bjork, time to start flexing, pushing that weight. Time to place some pressure where it absolutely needs to be applied and get your way in this situation. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. Be kind to one another. I owe someone's owed. Sing Carmen High with all your heart. Till next time, you all know what to do. Go Bucks.